Hello again and welcome to the program. I am Suren. Everything else is equal to a value. Impartiality is power to the freedom encapsulated within each of the primary pointers, which we have spoken about. Whether it is a reasoning attitude or an attitude towards different opinions, beliefs, and values, the choice cannot be any longer remain immature, childish, or childlike, or irresponsible. Signs are obvious that are known and shown by earthquakes, floods, and fires as a clear demonstration of the struggle planet Earth is going through. However, that is also accelerated, if you notice, assisted, and admitted to being abused by the general public. Could this change the state of the axis of the planet of balance and out of kilter? If self-preservation has been activated, backed by yourselves, and speeded up, perhaps then it may be achieved. Time is at an urgent, essential state now. It is up to each of human beings living on Earth to increase the speeding up, the escalation or acceleration towards sustainable, balanced, and peaceful coexistence. Your environment is the reflection imposed as a self-fulfilling prophecy. Use all that you have and all that you are as one, united humanity, contributing for working together towards one common cause and goal, salvation. And that must start now, not later, not tomorrow. Knowing what has been made known to you is what you know now and have known for a long, long time, right? Waiting patiently is a huge responsibility. This is indeed now a search and rescue mission. Believe it or not. Take note, the words as we know have been, to roundabout, are ad nauseam. To know is to experience. Listening and seeing is therefore not enough. You have to experience to be authentic. Now, one thing is to know something, and another is to be brave enough to do it. Another is to choose the experience or to ignore it. But what you really are responsible for takes some nerve and daring to be so. And that is what you are faced with today. You need to make a choice right now. Thought is what comes first and takes the lead. And so, if you catch that thought immediately, you can make a choice by planning it out and then observe what you create. Do you realize that you are experiencing a brand new awareness? And being alert is your current commitment. When you do make a choice, be aware that the thought has a timeline and relativity to be appropriate. Each experience is an all-out possibility of probability. Make a choice when selecting the potential for you to get what you wish for. Hope, frequency, will omit to the universal intelligence and be transferred back. The possibilities, probabilities, and the potentials. The best outcome for you is one that is compelling, which are absolute for the alchemy of it. When discovering who you are has passed its use by date, and its wanting, yearning, and desire is to become more loving, even when encumbered by greed, the shackles of consumerism being removed and having no freedom, gives you the chance to make big changes. What is now has become what it was. What was is as just now. Just now became known as the alchemical transformer of love, beloved, and loving you. What about having the alchemy is the only light tonight? And will those lights be back in today? Question mark. Dark becomes the light, and light becomes stuck. How could that be? Could it be questionable when it just is so? Happening every 24 hours, no matter what, without a fuss. And there is no ego, just a perpetual cycle through the light. Could the universe have happened by accident? Question. If looking forward to the majestic or the magic, look no further than the clear night sky, moonlight, and the starlight. Thought is the creative power of all that is, as that was and is to be. Everything is in existence, begins and ends, that is all the creative creation. as that was, that is. Quantum physics has proven today that from within the mind it begins, and so it is transmitters send and receive signals. From coast to coast, it's all energy, and everything is energy in this one world that we know of. An advanced microscope will show you solid matter as not solid at all. You will be looking at electrons and protons and atoms and seeing them charging around in an empty space. What you see as solid objects are almost like made up of thoughts, conglomerated and stuck together in an area, and which appear to be solid. Mind creates thoughts, and thoughts create matter, or erase matter, and change matter. Now, there is a mind bender for you also. Your mind is to create the thought and use your greatest asset. Life is not a lend-lease contract, as you know, and there is no residue. You cannot sell, trade, nor hire or transfer this asset. It really is a standalone, one ownership and proposition state, and that is the strength and even the limitation. At this point, you will probably ask yourselves, what is holding us back? Or who, if anyone, is holding us down? By choice, you create and manipulate where and when you are in misery, or you are glad and happy. What's that for? What is the heaven for? And what is the hell? Your thoughts come alive as your own creations. If the aim is to create peace on earth and goodwill to all, needs be your willingness, and to be responsible for your own choice of thoughts and actions. Go for it, as everything stops and starts with you. No one else other than you, yourself. Inclusion is dependent on you being prepared to include a microchip, for instance. The smallest of the small, the smallest thought, word, or action you could somehow have. And what can draw on when facing challenges, or challenges that may be out of your comfort zone. You will need not necessarily always have the understanding, patience, or agree, But if you are a willing participant to have a go, this is a giant step forward for humanity. For example, your internet environment. If you are not truthful, not telling the truth, it would be dishonest, insincere, embarrassing for you, being considered a liar, and deceitfulness is not at all right. These words are well known. The manipulation, blackmailing, abductions, and being flawed in all our transparencies of an inflated ego, arrogance, and sometimes ignorance. Some can do this so easily. However, for others, not telling the truth, telling fibs, all lies may present a huge difficulty. Sometimes, not telling the truth is a pathological issue residing in the blood, so to say. Lying can become an addiction. Cheating and lying may be learned behaviors. They could be a self-taught skill, practiced and honed for survival. Tolerance, understanding, and inclusion is broad-mindedness, open-mindedness, leniency, and patience. These are your resources to be acted on without judgment or bias of others. It certainly does draw on your sense of self, their strength and willingness to engage, to be willing to be. That is the question. Are you ready, willing, and able to raise up and take affirmative actions of love? You do not have to be overt. Don't be. Are you a covert? Inclusion without intrusion. How does that sound? As you discovered, the word understanding encompasses every aspect in thoughtfulness, kindness, support, and consideration. Understanding is a basic, telling you that you are to everything you know in existence. Understanding, you are not. Understanding is understandable. Now, children attend at an early age have some understanding down pat. When they feel they have done what has been deemed as wrong, you may not be right in that is not necessarily wrong. That is your learning. Their display or just be of their learning. Do you have particular understanding? Can be heard in the tone of denial, blame, justification, or leaving, quitting, or jibbing, crying, or tantrums is the ultimate surrender. we don't step it up or let it go, do we? If for how you decide to utilize this potential is entirely up to you. The more these points we put to use, the benefits will be distributed to you, humanity. Open your eyes and listen. And the environment. From practice, come to realization that randomly, all sequentially, you are at every moment of every day at choice point. You cannot use denial, justification, or quitting, just like children do. Every moment which has been made, can you imagine how many thoughts per second, per capita, around the world that is? Numerically, it is unfathomable. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. When or where have you seen humanity and devastation running parallel towards the finishing line? That is the question. This is very similar to the Grand Prix. The checkered flag is indicating that the last lap is coming around. So, you know more, much more than you think. Choice is your creation. You create the feelings out of fabric of emotions in answer to the choice made when choosing thought. When creating the experience to the choice of thought, you are the creator of those feelings. Choice is the sovereignty of creation. By your design, your choices are manipulated and managed to monopolize you, where and when your feelings are painful and agonizing. What excited and insightfulness could they be? Question. Okay, it is actually you who create the heaven on earth from the power of the mind, your own individual process when thinking. Good on two parts to choose from. Believe and just accept that lead you to your experiences. Choices are the architects of life. There is no age, young or old, your gender, she or he. To these pointers, how to live effectively in life. How is your opposition to being at the effect of life? Comes about from your choices made, what about to make, where and when intimidation becomes a challenge. That is when the going gets tough. So be aware of what you are choosing is what goes around. comes around as part of evolution. Here is a suggestion. If you are looking for magic and beauty on this planet, then look no further than nature. Look up at the stars and planets, which are awesome. Take the flamboyance of nature, whose bounty. Now here is the magic. Inclusion is heavenly, the alchemy as defeating tonight, and night lights back into day. Dark becomes light, and the light becomes stuck. How could that be? And this is questionable, as it's happening every 24 hours, as we said before, 7 days a week. No matter what, you are not today what you were yesterday. What are you up today? You will not be what you will be tomorrow. That is natural. Do you mind accepting your nature as shown to us as the seasons? The season of autumn discourages to, so as the new one can start. Where are you? Old season has left off your nature, yet there is seed planting, nurturing the good nature, and you are amazed. Could the universe have happened by accident, do you think? Understanding choice is the sovereignty of creation, and as such has manipulated and managed and monopolized you. Where and when your feelings are in miserable state, or you're just sad and could be happy and glad if they designed it all. Your emotional responses are relative to feelings from your choices. Your choices are your architects that design who you are and who you will become. It is you who actually create heaven on earth from the power of the mind. Your own individual process from thinking. There are indeed times to pass that lead to experience, belief, and or disbelief. Neither those issues nor time is relative here. Your purpose and processes can be completely intimidating and highly inviting. How exciting can that be? First comes knowing. You know that which you already know. Your knowledge of knowing is the unseen part, that which you don't know, what is prior to a destination, which is being a new birth. Then there is complete knowing, to have a head, creating creative creations, created an experience. Death does not exist. This is a mission over and mistaken. A mistaken teaching, handed down through the ages. The physical body was never designed as it is today. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, this knowingness is completely raised from the human consciousness before deciding, entering, departing, and re-entering the physical world. One lifetime can be considered to just one of these steps or stages you choose from the unseen world, which first step or stage to experience. Then check in on your physical world before re-entering back into the physical environment. Unfortunately, perhaps fortunately I shall say, this knowing is completely erased from consciousness when re-entering the physical world, earth. Only your spirit soul knows. If your memory will not serve you, how could it be? The choices, when choosing this time round, will be new and have not been developed as yet. The energy of your spirit soul discourages that body when you are finished with it. This sojourn only earthbound to physical play is over for now. You actually choose consciously or unconsciously the time of your own death, although there is in reality no death. The only thinking made known to you up until now is death is a physical body's experience and occurrence only. You are in the midst of an internal process in which experience of your divinity is through the eternal life. To begin to believe all this, you will need help. Maybe to ask yourself this question: did the world and universe happen in a haphazard manner, or was it created? Did the world and universe happen by accident? I'll say certainly not. It is the thought that becomes the spoken word and then manifests itself into reality, which is the vital action. So now you have the proof in the pudding. The human body acts out death because of the belief embedded in the first place by being taught that this was to happen and could not be sidestepped. Death has become part of the blueprint. This evolution of life needs to be understood. There is the belief that this is the truth. Now, only now, can you begin to feel the nothingness. But this one is actualized. It is factual and can happen. It will happen, indeed. You humans in this day and age were already ascending, transiting, and descending. Thought is all-powerful, in fact almighty, and eternal. That is why thought controls the life of all the physical beings. Everything is vibration. Everything that is vibration. Death is a vibration too. It is the energy of life changing from one vibration to another. Those people, when choosing death over attention, having taken all the physical body, get to observe what it really looks like. Now, there is the actual realization that it is not you. It is the death of your physical vehicle only. What remains is the corpse, the carcass that was holding the spirit, the soul energy, you. This is the vehicle you used to get yourself around with. The very first thing you are not able to realize is that there has been a split. If you can see all that, then you are not, nor can be dead, and you are still very much alive. What you are looking at is that the maze of the body's vehicle, which now is dead. At this stage, you are in full realization of the separation. You have entered into another dimension, a different world. One feels unknown and will be made known a little later. Some of the units of you humans have been taught that this is the place, but only the good people go, and this is called the heaven. What you discover that people have been misguided, misled, and then if you like to hear it, again, they need to earn their tickets and the place in heaven or in a new world order. Even media and cinema is forthcoming with ways of manipulating our ideals of heaven or the next world. There is an understanding that the spirit, soul's re-entry through the birth canal is a new body vehicle, again and again can be traumatic. There are some spirit souls who cannot handle the trauma or are not yet ready. So the key to the infant's body should, after entry, is this, as you probably know as the cot death. There is also a belief that some spirit souls come for a look around only to discover if this is the place and conditions that they want to experience. And earthbound word needs to be known is Down syndrome, Mongoloid, and others. There are many words, to name a few, to put in symbolic boxes or categories for these beautiful children. In some circles of society, these children are seen as loving beings. These children are given to those amongst us who are exceptional people. And the environment these children are born into is a loving families. Little children never die. Let me take leave from these who gave them a possibility for choosing life. If their choice is not to stay on earth, you and your spirit soul returns back to the fold, where unconditional love reigns supreme. Love flourishes in the unseen world, known as the heaven, because it is a familiar dimension. Family and friends who have already departed have gone out of sight only. They are still in spirit around while you were left behind in the physical world. Celebrate, as they too will be celebrating with you. There is plenty of evidence today as proof of this. Terms are very familiar to some of us. They say heaven is purgatory, and in limbo. They are the names only for other dimensions. Perhaps states of being or part of evolvement. The word limbo, being from the Caribbean, is a dance that is happy rhythmically and musically, associated with good and happy times. Limbo, on the other end, is known as being unsure, insecure, and uncertain. If they are not so happy, it certainly is self-explanatory. Being in a state of uncertainty certainly fits the picture of the unseen world. Then, the seen and unseen worlds have words that sound similar, and that it is where it stops, Words like spirit or alcohol, soul or soul, die and die. Do you feel equal or indifferent to both dimensions? Passing over or departing from this world will be the meeting of undisputed souls. You will recognize them from your past lives. They are the welcoming committee. Some of these spirit souls are here in service to humanity, presenting unconditional energy of love. Being unconditionally accepted as love is an emergence within your spirit, souls meeting with the divine as energy, as if you like God, and integrity. You are made so very welcome, with open arms, so to speak. Now, you are at the central point, or central core, the actual epicenter of your vibration. Your resignation in any way is the happiest state for your spirit soul, and now faced with the toughest and the biggest question in all existence. God, if you like, with an infinite wisdom, caresses and fills you with unconditional love. This is where and when every spirit, soul, or God, if you like, the universe and the universal intelligence awaits for the defining moment. Now you are being added to the central point and the central core, the actual epicenter of your vibration. Your resonation now do brush and or can be shouldering your spirit soul, now faced with the toughest and biggest question in all existence. God, if you like, with an infinite wisdom that is the unconditional love, is waiting. This is where and when every spirit, soul, or God and universe wait for the defining moment. So, I'm not going to repeat it anymore. The question is, do you want to continue expanding into the unseen world or not? Do you want to go on or not? What is your hesitation, if there is one? How realistic is that? As mentioned before, there is also a false evidence appearing real, and your hesitation is a form of fear. If your answer is no, you don't want to, then back to the physical world you go immediately. If answering yes, now you are ready to enter into the upgraded scene. You have just entered the greatest regions of the mystical, spiritual, and supernaturally valued only to the subconscious. Here is a very important point to take note of. What you know about your spirit soul is about to experience can only be and will only be the lightness of being from whence you came. Wanting to know this moment, creation is based upon the infinite wisdom, or being an answer to the question of opportunities, possibilities, and potentials. You can choose a return trip back into the physical world. Returning, well, this trip back to the earth plane is a vibration revving so fast this will be passed off as a near-death experience. You have heard of that many times. Such is the amazing and awesome bounty of love. In the not too distant future, this belief will be changing, as in latent humans. Having the new learning will not want to experience what is known as death and dying. You are under the pressure, facing the opportunity to learn about extension. There will be those who will use their potentials, but presently this will be a great celebration of life. What is realized at the very center and the core is the knowledge that negativity is futile. Futility is senseless. Absurdity and effectiveness. Nevertheless, it is creative. Harmful thoughts, words, spoken or done, deeds are instruments of thought also. A system of beliefs is your blueprint. Negative thoughts creeps in, almost seeps in. So be aware, be awake, and be alert. Have your radar on ready to abort or dismiss them immediately. By now, you must have some understanding. There is nothing in your existence other than vibrations, frequencies, and thoughts, transmitting energy. Although, in choosing to exist in human world for many years, you have to do it all, absolutely everything. Whatever it takes in the physical world to be doing your best is your highest vibration for realizing and computer-like capitalizing who you really are, who you could become, takes tracking as sometimes the weary path. Where you are at should be heading for safety, i.e., unconditional love. Because you are able to answer does not mean you are finished with creating. Your Creator's creations are always creating. The immediacy and instantaneous thought can be mind-boggling. Getting your mind to accept this text, courage and conviction, some getting used to in the physical world. What is known as time is the limiting factor of thought to manifestation. All need to struggle through life. And if it would be obliterated, eradicated, and reduced to nothing, and indeed, if the negative thing and harmful thoughts stopped, forwards and backwards, between the seen and the unseen worlds, until after many lifetimes we end up as unconditional love, is the process and evolution of life as we humans know it. Life is not a letter, for what it is it a cycle and sometimes recycle. Evolving as far as you can go. That is towards unconditional love. Is also like becoming godlike and is still not the end. For there is no end. As life is complete, freewheeling the choices and choosing what to be, what you want, or what to do, is you making the choice, using a wheel as a metaphor. You are being the steering wheel, driving your vehicle hard. The red light indicator comes on. The fuel gauge is showing empty and the heat gauge is flashing. Service station would be very nigh in the right now. Your vehicle needs an overhaul. It needs oil, and change is a must. Your tires need to be rotated. Have a closer look. As may be, there is no tread left. This vehicle is looking like wreckage. You are at a choice point here. Time to evaluate. Pay more cash or energy into fixing the old, and that will be a lot of maintenance, which you must keep an eye on it, or you can get yourself a new model, and a different model perhaps altogether. When purchasing a new vehicle, firstly, seek what you have decided to buy. Secondly, see what is available. Thirdly, is this the appropriate model for your purpose? Fourth, what is the cost? So it is with life. The purpose of eternity is to provide a continuum of homelessness, offering unending experiences so as to experience new adventures. For who do you choose to be? Make a choice. You continue through. This continued wheel is so cool. No one misses out. No one gets under the radar screen ever. You choose your choice, maybe, to come back for a different experience, to start over. Maybe you come back to help others progress, process, and evolve to their enlightenment next. Or you may choose a different world. Completely up to you. Resurrection or reincarnation or rebirth. With the newly gained and learned knowledge, you now know how every choice becomes part of your reality. Dying or essentially coming back to physical existence will be your choices. You will be making someday. In the light of Back to the Future learnings, the energies of old masters such as Christ, Buddha, and Muhammad Hazrat, and there are many others who came to earth to show you humans what resurrection meant. They taught as they lived, and lived what they taught. These are like a dictionary, and in today's terminology, in a sense, like a Bible or the Holy Koran. The task at hand is to be working on planet Earth for the express purpose of evolving from physical world into that of all the unseen world, the so-called heaven. It is one of the reasons for continually returning time and again back and forth from the unseen, going in and out of the unseen dimension repeatedly is to be in touch on the feelings of how unconditional love works and feels like to you. Also to witness what unconditional love looks like. No use for listening to words, that is, to trigger inbuilt intuition that you need like intelligence or your spirit soul. Hearing and listening to your guidance is a smart thing to do for yourself. Being absolutely saturated and dosed with these new learnings and experiences is like being wanting to give it back and to give too. This is you, your name, and wanting to be part of the evolution as we all raise up in unconditional love to the highest on high, resonating as one love. Spacecraft from enlightened worlds or planets come here to visit you. and to assist to overcome your arrogance and ignorance. Through their needs, intelligence, they make themselves known to those few of you who are ready to bring the perfectly divine plan for peace for all, those who are conscious and are ready and willing to be responsible. To those who believe in finality, being death, and are many instances, dates and data documented in your libraries to support your beliefs. It is the reason that today death is so costly to the believers, and death has created a big business for those in the business of making money. People who experienced themselves dead found were still alive in another dimension, another time and space, and came back into consciousness, remembering everything, so to tell their tale, to qualify and quantify for the believers, and to give the unbelievers an opportunity to turn their fears aside, as there is nothing to lose. The question is, which concept of death are you going to choose? Then give it a fair go. That's called the Australian way. Thank you for watching and spending this time with me. We will meet you again here by the next episode. Until then, keep smiling and be happy. Thank you.